good morning, afternoon, whatever time it is that you guys are watching this video. Hello, welcome. What is wrong with me today? I'm in a very good mood apparently. Yeah, today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I would like to read in April. I say that, I have 20 books. There's no way I'm going to read 20 books, but that being said, I just kind of I like to choose a big selection of books and then I'll just dip in and see what I fancy. So these are 20 books that I will be choosing from this month. Knowing me, I probably will read like 3 and then choose entirely different books on my shelf, but I'm going to talk about them here anyway because... So yes, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Ring the notification bell if you would like to see more of my content. I post once a week, but I am trying to do a little bit more, but we'll see. And yes, let's just dive in because I've got a lot of books to talk about and not a lot of time to talk about them in. So yes, without further ado, let's just dive in. So, if you are part of the book world, which I assume you are if you're here watching me ramble on about books, because otherwise it wouldn't be very interesting for you. There is a TV show coming out on, I want to say the 27th of April? I'm not sure when exactly. I've already spoken about it in one of my videos and I've forgotten the date already. Basically by the end of this month there is a TV show coming out and it is of a very popular series here on Book Talk BookTube, YA fantasy book world. And it is the Shadow and Bone series. They are making a TV show of it and I'm incredibly excited because it's a TV show, like a fantasy TV show. I love it. I did read the Shadow and Bone trilogy, so there's Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and then Rise and Ruin. I did read these last year. I think it was like June last year, something like that, so almost a year ago, and it's been a while. There are things that I can't really remember that well, so I would like to reread these just because I want to read them in time for the TV series. So if you've never heard of Shadow and Bone, it's part of the Grisha-verse, so it's like there are these people called Grisha and they have powers, and there's different types. It does say at the beginning because I always forget. So there's the Grisha, soldiers of the Second Army, masters of the small science. There is the Corporalki, the Order of the Living and the Dead, and they have the Heart Renders and Healers. So Heart Renders can literally just make your heart pop. Healers heal. There is the Etherealki, the Order of the Summoners, and there are Squallers, Inferni and Tide Makers. They can control wind, fire and water. And then there are the Materialki, the Order of the Fabricators, and they are jurists and alchemy, and they're like creators of mechanical stuff basically, but with a bit more like magic to it. I didn't really explain that very well. And it basically follows the story of Alina, who finds out that she is one of these Grisha basically, and it follows her story. And it's a really good series. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people don't. But that being said, I read it just as I was venturing into my YA fantasy book world for the very first time. I hadn't really read any YA fantasy. So I'm wondering, now that I've had a lot more experience and read much more YA fantasy, yeah, whether I will think about them differently and not enjoy them as much. So it'll be interesting to reread them and see how I feel now that I am a bit more experienced in the YA fantasy world. But yes, TV show is coming out soon. And I want to reread this trilogy. A part of this trilogy is also 2 other duologies. I say part of this trilogy, it's part of the world, the Grisha-verse. It's all by Leigh Bardugo. And I have the other 2 duologies and I want to read them this month. And that is Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. This is a duology and it follows a 6-man heist in the Grisha-verse. I have not read these, so I really don't know that much about them, but I'm really looking forward to reading them. These are the collector's editions and they are stunning. They are so beautiful. A lot of people say that they prefer Six of Crows to Shadow and Bone, so I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, so I do plan on reading these this month. These first 7 that I'm talking about are my top priority. I'm planning on reading them, and then any other books that I get to will be a bonus, but these are top priority. So yes, I want to read the Six of Crows duology. And then as a spin-off of the Shadow and Bone trilogy, there is the King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. Oh, look how pretty they are. Now these aren't like collector's editions, these are just the standard hardbacks, which, oh my god, so beautiful. I just took the dust jackets off because I prefer the look of them without them on. I just thought they were really pretty, and then like next to those two, they just look really nice on the shelves. So yes, this is a spin-off of a character called Nikolai, who is introduced in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and he is, I think, everyone's favourite character in that trilogy, hands down. I know he's my favourite character, without a doubt. And this is his spin-off duology, so I have not read these yet, and I'm incredibly excited to read them because, like I said, he was my favourite character, so really looking forward to those two. And I'm sorry, this one literally just came out, and look how beautiful, like, look how beautiful it is. It's ridiculous. So those 7 books, the Shadow and Bone trilogy, Six of Crows duology and King of Scars duology, that's my main TBR if I can finish that this month, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people's TBRs. Like, I think a lot of people are reading that this month, which is fine. Everyone's preparing for the TV show. That is my main goal, but I also have 13 other books that I like at the top of my TBR at the minute, and I really want to get to read them. So I guess once I finish this 7, whatever time I have left, I will be choosing books from this rest of the 13, so I will talk about them and see where we go. If you have not watched my previous video of the, oh no, it won't be my previous video, my next video I'm going to post is my March wrap up, and in that I talk about a series called the Shadow of the Fox trilogy, and I've read the first 2, absolutely loved them. You need to read it, one of the best series I've ever read. And I'm listening to them on audiobook, and I have the 3rd one to listen to, which is called Night of the Dragon, and I'm only like 6% of the way through. Like, I've only just started it, so I need to finish that. So that is definitely going to be read this month as well, because it's an audiobook, so it's kind of separate. But yeah, loving that series. Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. If you have not read it, please do, it's fantastic. I go into more depth in my next video in the wrap up, so if you're interested, go and watch that. I have 2 arcs at the minute that I really want to read, just because I said I would, and they sound incredible. So I have Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon, and I will read the synopsis to this because it just sounds amazing. Vern, a black woman with albinism, is hunted after escaping a religious compound. Then she discovers that her body is changing and that she is developing extrasensory powers. Alone in the woods, she gives birth to twins and raises them away from the influence of the outside world, but something is wrong. Not with them, but with her own body. It's itching, it's stronger, it's not normal. To understand her body's metamorphosis, Vern must investigate not just the secluded religious compound she fled, but the violent history of dehumanization, medical experimentation, and genocide that produced it. In the course of reclaiming her own darkness, Vern learns that monsters aren't just individuals, but entire histories, systems, and nations. Does that not sound incredible? That sounds amazing. This is actually being released in May 2021, so I do have plenty of time. If I don't get to it this month, that's fine. I can read it at the beginning of May, but I would very much like to get to it soon. Plus, it just sounds amazing, and I want to read it and review it for the author. So, yes. Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. Sounds incredible. I've just recently started this. This is Dream Country by Ashaye Brown. This is another arc that I got. I actually got it as part of a big box set, and it is in one of my vlogs. It's in my ACOTAR reading vlog, but that's taken me forever to edit, so it will come out soon. But yeah, you do see me unboxing it, and it's a big PR unboxing that you can actually buy the box, and I will link it in the video when it comes out, but it was beautiful. And this basically follows the story. It follows 3 siblings, which are the major gods of sleep, dreams, and nightmares, which just is incredible anyway. And it follows the story of their mother, who was murdered, and she was the god of night, and they are kind of all suspects in her death. We don't know if it's a murder yet. I literally have only just started it. I'm only on 52 pages, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It's a bizarre world. It's like it's very mythological, obviously, because it's about major gods and minor gods, but it's so well written so far and so in depth, and there's just so much detail and world building, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So yes, I hope to finish that this month. This comes out at the end of April as well, so this is high priority. Like I said, I have started it, so I do plan on finishing that. I think I'll finish this before I start Shadow and Bone, because this is major priority, I think. Another major priority, mainly because I've started it and I've almost finished, so I probably will finish it today, to be honest. I started The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. If you do not know, this is the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy, which I'm sure you know the Hunger Games trilogy. Everyone knows that. The movies were fantastic. Yeah, I've almost finished that. I'm on page 378 of 517, so almost finished. It's feeling like a 3.5 at the minute, but we'll see what the ending's like. But I have not enjoyed it nearly as much as the Hunger Games. It's been cool to see the prequel, like to see the Hunger Games starting out. But that being said, I would have preferred a prequel to before the Hunger Games even started, to the actual War of Panem. And I think that's a lot of people's issues, is that's what they would have rather seen. Yeah, I am really enjoying it, but it is feeling like a 3.5. If the ending is good, it'll probably be a 4-star, but yeah, the writing's really good. I'm not a fan of Snow, obviously. He's the bad guy. Why would I enjoy his character? But I am enjoying seeing the history of the Hunger Games and how it is created. That's quite interesting. So yes, I'm hoping to finish this today, if not today, tomorrow. Well, that's it. I also have a book that was sent to me by an author, and I really want to get to it because it just sounds wonderful. Like, it sounds like the peak YA fantasy. And it is The Goddess's Throne by A. Kingsley. Now this is, I think she said she was either 16 or 17, and she has her own book out, which is incredible. Like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life when I was 16, so for her to have her own book out is incredible. So I will read the synopsis to this because I want to do it justice, because I'm incredibly grateful for the author sending me her first book. It is the first in a series, so yes, I will read the synopsis now. So when Claire and Saige packs are thrown into arranged engagements in order to ensure political stability, they underestimate the difficulties that come along with it. Along with navigating her new relationship with the prince of the neighbouring kingdom of Exidium, Claire discovers that she has magic and embarks on a journey to discover its source. While Claire is out on an adventure with two men that her heart is torn between, the prince of Exidium and a servant from Deuce, Saige is stuck at home in the kingdom of Pax et Lux, training to become the next queen. What will happen if the people find out about Claire's magic? Why does Saige need to become the next queen? Who will Claire's heart choose? And why are the goddesses coming back to Earth after thousands of years? It just sounds like a really, like, it's got a bit of everything. It's got royalty, it's got magic, it's got love triangles, it's got goddesses, and it just sounds incredible. And I'm really looking forward to reading it, and I'm extremely grateful to A. Kingsley for sending me this, so yes. High on my priority. I would very much like to get to it this month if I can. I've got 8 books left to talk about. Like I said, there's no way I'm going to get to all these. I know that. These are books that are really high on my priority at the minute to read, basically. And also, just every month I like to have a choice of different genres and different authors to read, just because it's nice to mix things up, and sometimes I'm not in the mood just for fantasy. Sometimes I want a romance, I want a horror, I want contemporary, you know? Like, sometimes it's just nice to have... Oh my gosh, my legs. It's just nice to have different books to choose from, basically. So in the video that I'm going to put up next week, I talk about the fact that I started and read Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I really enjoyed it, and obviously it's part of a trilogy, so I have the other 2 to read. These aren't super high in my priority just because I really enjoyed it, but I really want to read Shadow and Bone before anything else, and I want to read the arcs. So I really enjoyed it, but it's not super high priority, and if I don't get them this month, that's fine. I'll just read them the month after, but I do definitely want to get to them because I really enjoyed it. The first one I gave, I think it was like a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5, I can't quite remember, but I did really enjoy it, so I'm looking forward to reading these 2. I then wanted to give myself just a different selection of genre, so I wanted to put a thriller in there, thriller/horror, so I decided that I want to read Pine by Francine Toon. This is a kind of gothic thriller from what I've read, so it just sounds like a really good haunting thriller. I will read the synopsis now quickly for you because I don't really know a great deal. So Lauren and her Lauren and her father Niall live alone in the Highlands in a small village surrounded by forest. When a woman stumbles onto the road one Halloween night, Niall drives her back to their house. In the morning, she's gone. In a community where daughters rebel and men quietly rage, mysteries like these are not out of the ordinary. Lauren looks for answers in her tarot cards, hoping she might be able to read her father's turbulent mind. Neighbours know more than they let on, but when a local teenager goes missing, it's no longer clear who she can trust. In a place that can feel like the edge of the world, Toon brilliantly captures the wilderness of rural childhood and the intensity of small-town claustrophobia, uniting the chill of a modern gothic with the pulse of a thriller. That just sounds fantastic. It just sounds like right up my street, and I know when I'm in the midst of reading all these fantasies, I know I'm going to want like a bit of a break, a bit of a palate cleanser, so to speak, and I think that this is really going to hit the spot. So if I do get a chance to get to this month, that would be fantastic. It's not too big, it's just over 300 pages, so you know, I could read that in an evening and be quite content and, you know, get that gothic thriller going. Yes, really looking forward to that, and the cover is just gorgeous. Like, look at that. Is that not incredible? So yes, really looking forward to that. Another kind of thriller as well, because I wanted a different choice of two, but again, if I don't get to these, that's fine. I will get to them eventually. I really wanted to read Where the Forest Meets the Stars, and this is by Glendy Vanderah. Now this follows the story of a woman who loses her mother to breast cancer, and she is studying ornithology, which I connect to very much because I love birds and study ornithology myself. So she is studying ornithology, and then she really throws herself into her work after the loss of her mother. But as she's kind of really getting into work, a mysterious child just kind of turns up on her doorstep, basically. It says that the girl calls herself Ursa, and she claims to have been sent from the stars to witness 5 miracles. With concerns about the child's home situation, Jo reluctantly agrees to let her stay just until she learns more about Ursa's past. The more time they spend together, the more questions they have. How does a young girl not only read but understand Shakespeare? Why do good things keep happening in her presence? Though the three have formed an incredible bond, they know difficult choices must be made. As the summer nears an end and Ursa gets closer to her 5th miracle, her dangerous past closes in. When it finally catches up to them, all of their painful secrets will be forced into the open and their fates will be left to the stars. It just sounds like a really interesting mystery thriller. I don't even know if it'd be a thriller, to be honest. It's more just like a mystery fiction, really. But it sounds really interesting, and I really want to know what's going on in this. So yes, if I can get to that as well at some point, that would be fantastic. I then just wanted to throw in a really cheesy, nice romance, because I'm sure I'll want a break as well at some point. So I threw in The Heavenly Italian Ice Cream Shop, and this is by Abby Clements. And yeah, it's just a really lovely, like, cheesy romance. That's what I'm thinking. I have no idea what this is about. Again, I bought it from Tesco when it was like 2 for £8 or something, and it just looked like a really nice, simple romance full of mouth-watering flavours, sunshine and escapist adventures. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it. Sometimes it's nice just to have a bit of a break from like the heavy fantasy, heavy thriller, that kind of stuff. So yes, and speaking of romance, this is further up my TBR than the other 3 books I just spoke about, and that is Red, White and Royal Blue. I feel like everyone knows about this book at this point. This was actually gifted to me from a lovely woman on BookTok called Debs, and I really love her videos as well, but she's just so lovely, and she bought this me and I really want to read it. It follows the story of a romance between the son of the President of the United States and Prince Henry, and it is just apparently really wonderful but sad and emotional, and yeah, I really want to read it. And then 2 more books that are up there on my priority TBR is Miss Austen. This is by Gill Hornby, and it's basically a kind of literary fiction, classic literary fiction, but written recently. So it's not like classical in the writing, and it's literally the story of Jane Austen. Kind of like a fictional story of Jane Austen. It just sounds really sweet and fun, and I'm really intrigued to read it. And just on a side note, look how beautiful that is. I'm pretty sure it's really nice under the dust jacket. Yeah, that's just really pretty. So yes, I would really, oh yeah, so it kind of looks like it's been sewn on, and then under the dust jacket you can see, like, it's as if it's underneath.
That's so fun.
The sewing. How cool is that? It's good, isn't it? Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's just going to be a kind of sweet, nice story. I think like it'd be really nice to read in a park when it's sunny out, that kind of vibe. So yeah, if I get to that this month, then that would be wonderful, but if not, you know, I can read it anytime I want. But I do really want to read that at some point. It just sounds really nice. And then the very last book on my April TBR is The Animals of Lockwood Manor, and this is by Jane Healy, and this is kind of a gothic thriller. I want to say, I'm going to read the synopsis because again I don't know a great deal about this. August 1939, 30-year-old Hetty Cartwright is tasked with the evacuation and safekeeping of the Natural History Museum's collection of mammals. Once she and her exhibits arrive at Lockwood Manor, however, where they are to stay for the duration of the war, Hetty soon realises that she's taken on more than she'd bargained for. Protecting her charges from the inescapable Lord Lockwood and resentful servants is work enough, but when some of the animals go missing, and worse, Hetty begins to suspect someone or something is stalking her through the darkened corridors of the house. As the disasters mount, Hetty finds herself falling under the spell of Lucy, Lord Lockwood's beautiful but clearly haunted daughter. But why is Lucy so traumatised? Does she know something she's not telling? And is there any truth to local rumours of ghosts and curses? Part love story, part mystery, The Animals at Lockwood Manor by Jane Healy is a gripping and atmospheric tale of family madness, long-buried secrets and hidden desires. That just sounds fantastic. Honestly, it just sounds so mysterious and interesting, and I really, really want to get to that if I can this month. Obviously, if I can't, that's fine. I've got a lot to choose from, but yes, those are the 20 books that are kind of up there with my TBR at the minute that I really would like to get to soon. But that being said, it changes on a daily. So next month I'm sure I'll have 20 different books, even if I haven't finished all these, that I will want to read. That is literally everything. Those are 20 books that I really want to read right now, and if I can read them in April, that would be wonderful, but I'll probably end up reading about 12. Because I've got a bet with George that I need to read at least 12 this month. So, yes, thank you for letting me ramble on. I will write down all of the book titles and author names down in the description box below, and if you see anything you like, then it'll be down there. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Alright, bye guys.